morning, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to A Cuppa with Spirit here this evening in Cheshire in UK. Now, whilst I was sitting and contemplating earlier what I was going to have a chat to you about whilst we're on our virtual sofa, is I want to have a talk to you about the roles and responsibilities of a sitter. So when I mean sitter, I mean the person that is going to have a one-to-one with a medium or a psychic medium. Well, a psychic medium, or sorry, a psychic or a medium, I know what I mean. Please excuse me. And there are a lot of courses and classes out there for development of the medium and their roles and responsibilities to the sitter. But in my experience, there's very little out there formally that's been covered as to the roles and responsibilities of a sitter. And I'd just like to have a quick chat to you about that, because I do believe that at times, due to the lack of understanding, for want of another phrase, of how a one-to-one works and how connections with the spirit world works, and energetic connections with the physical world and with the auric field of the person sitting in front of you. And the auric field is the electromagnetic field that surrounds every living thing, which is what somebody working psychically will connect into to perceive the information that's contained within it. And then using the same skill set, so to speak, but at a higher vibration and frequency, that is how we connect with the spirit world. And the medium is as the very word says, it's the in-between between the physical world and the non-physical world, also known that of spirit, the higher life, the other world, and it's known by many, many different things. And so I would suggest that first of all, go in with an open mind as to who is going to come through. And I say this because many a time people go into a one-to-one with a medium, with a psychic, with a medium to say, oh, I want to connect with dad, want to connect with dad, want to connect with dad. But you see, whilst you would love to hear from dad, he may not be the best person to offer guidance and advice with your current situations that are happening within your world right now, you see. It may be mum, it may be a sibling, it may be a partner, it may be an old neighbour that you once knew back in childhood, it may be a teacher, it could be anybody that you've ever formed a bond or a connection with within your life that has had an influence and an impact on you in one way or another. And you see, so they choose to come and to work with you for that brief moment to impart their wisdom and their guidance and to help you in whatever way they can. So that would be the first thing I would ask, is to go in with an open mind and an absolute open heart as to who is going to come through for you. Because trust me, it could surprise you in ways that you would never expect. Second thing is to let the medium do their job. So when you go in there, please forgive me for saying this, but to go in there to place pressures and expectations can actually block the process, because it is all energy. It is the medium is connecting with your lovely self. The medium is connecting with your lovelies in the spirit world, you see. And then that magic happens in the middle, that reuniting of the worlds happens. And so when you put a pressure on that, it can create stresses and create blockages. And also it means that you won't necessarily get the reading and the sitting and the experience that you so richly desire, need, and deserve. And within that, no feeding the medium either. And that is a common phrase within the mediumistic fraternity, especially us that work on the platform. And what feeding the medium means is to not give them extra information, So they say, oh, I've got your dad here. Would you understand this about him? Would you understand that about him? You know, he's a carpenter. He worked with wood, and I see that you still have a table of his, etc. And then if you say, oh yes, I've got that table, and we do this and we do that, and you see that extra information is feeding us. And when that happens, what happens within our minds is that we are then focused, we can then start to focus within and on what you've said. So then our minds can come in, you see, and then our focus and attention on spirit can become weaker within that moment. So please don't feed us, because, as I say, we don't know whether our mind's going to cut, if it's our mind with that information or not. So just yes, just no, maybe, or don't understand are perfectly acceptable responses within a one-to-one. And also, thirdly, if you feel after about 10 minutes that the medium isn't quite making the connection or the link with yourself, and you're not quite feeling it, you're not feeling it's flowing, then you are perfectly within your rights to say, look, I don't feel this is working this time. Can we reconvene? Can we rearrange things? Because we're all human, ladies and gentlemen, and lovelies in the world at large. We are all human, and the energy that you're bringing that day, and the energy the medium is bringing that day, maybe the things that aren't quite gelling. So when you make another appointment and you come back, it can be entirely different again. So it's good to take that responsibility and have the courage to say that if you, after about 10 minutes, if you feel it's not happening, just to suggest that. And it's no disrespect to the medium, and it's no disrespect to spirit, and it's no disrespect to yourself to do that. In fact, I would suggest it's honest. It's absolute honesty. And it is a three-way connection. It's the medium connecting with the person sitting in front of them, as I stated a minute ago, and then it's the medium expanding their energy to connect with the spirit world. As I said, it's in the middle that all that magic happens, and when that magic happens, it is a wondrous thing. And the levels of communication and evidence, and so evidence is what we say when we give information that only you would know about. We couldn't possibly know this. And it's only between 9 times out of 10 between you and your loved one in the spirit world. And you see, when that happens, it is such an amazing thing. And that one-to-one, the purpose of it is to uplift, it's to heal. And the healing can come in the way of sorry for the way that I behaved. It can come within the knowledge that your loved ones live on eternally within the spirit world, and they know what is going on within your lives right now. And you see, so there is that aspect as well, and that is the purpose of a sitting, is to leave the appointment feeling better than when you arrived. That is the one thing that I strive on, and I know many of my colleagues do as well. And that is the purpose of it, is to uplift, console the bereaved, and to create a solace and that inner peace and knowledge that everything is okay, and that your loved ones are okay, and they are thriving and living more vibrant lives than they possibly did when they were here in the physical world. And when the information, and also another point I'd like to give to you is, don't dismiss the evidence and the information that you get completely out of hand. And the reason I say that is because the greatest evidence and the greatest confirmation that can happen is when you can't place the information, but then you ask a relative or a friend or a loved one around you, and they say, well, yes, actually, this happened to me today. Yes, I did break a plate. Yes, the handle did come off of a mug. on my days, how did you know that? Well, actually, I went to see such and such, and they said that mum sees this going on within life. But you see, sometimes the medium as can misunderstand it, misplace it, because when it comes to our mind, we are not making sense of it, but we are interpreting it and giving it to you through our own memory, through our own mind, and through our own brains. And that is filtered in a way that only we can do. And which is why sometimes you'll get one medium that perceives some information and another medium that perceives different information, because each medium has different life experiences, they have different memories, they have different recollections, you see. So, and I hope that really does make sense to everybody here, because I do feel it is important to understand how this work happens, so that when you do go into a one-to-one, into your appointment, to reconnect with the spirit world, or maybe guidance with your everyday life, which is more the psychic side of things, but also our loved ones, of course, they want to support and uplift and offer guidance and in ways that only they would know how to do. It's important, I believe, to go in there with this knowledge and with this understanding of how it works, because then we get more out of it. You would get more out of it by having your expectations realistic, if that makes sense. I wish it were just like a case of dialing a number and having Dad on the phone, because trust me, it would be a lot easier than having pictures and scenarios and sounds that we somehow have to piece together and give to you in a way that makes sense to you. And the other thing that I would say as well, just before I'm start to get called to time, is that if the person that you go to see, if they ask you questions about yourself and about your life and about the situation in hand, I would suggest to you to maybe seek elsewhere, because what that would say to me is that that person is what I call fishing. So it's their job to tell you, not your job to tell them, you understand. And if they, and as I said earlier on, the purpose of a one-to-one is to feel uplifted and invigorated. And so the information that comes through should only be things that you can change, or things that are important to you, that uplift you, your soul. And so when things like prophecies of passings or things like that, please dismiss it out of hand. Please don't focus on it. Please don't. Do not waste your time over that. I implore you, because that is between you and God. That time is between you and God. And I would like to leave that with you for your contemplation this evening. And I know that these recordings can be rewatched, so please take this information with love from my soul to your soul, and from the love of God and Spirit.